Hey everyone, it's Ruth from Kendall Reads, and we're live. You know what? I should have checked and see if I can do if the control panel's working now. Not control panel, toolbox. Now. Okay, this is the wrong time. Oh, it's the toolbox. Okay. Yeah, having some technical difficulties with freaking Google Plus, as always. But hey everyone, it's nice to see you guys after a long week. I don't know, for some reason Tuesday was just a horrible day for me. Tuesday. I don't know if anyone else was having like a crappy Tuesday or not, but you guys, please let me know if you were. My live show's not going live technically yet. I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see. Yep, issues with my live show. There we go. Google Plus, every time. But anyways, let's try not to focus on Google Plus too much. We're going to do a Booktuber problem type video today because A, I'm not feeling well. So when you're not feeling well, it's like the perfect time to kind of rant on crap. B, as I told you before, I had a crappy Tuesday, so I'm not really feeling like roses and sunshines right now. And my throat, oh my gosh, my throat is just killing me. I have like this raspberry. It's iced tea raspberry, and I know I shouldn't be drinking anything cold when you have a throat whatever issue, but it just tastes so good. It's the Publix brand, so Publix iced tea is off the chain. I ain't gonna lie, but the tag was originally called reading problems, but after looking at the questions, I'm like 99% of booktubers have this issue. I used to be a general reader, like in a sense, that's what I loved to do before I joined the booktube community. And I really didn't have a lot of these issues that I saw on this tag specifically. I felt like the community kind of drives a lot of these issues that we have. And I'm not going to be on here too long today because, like I said, I am definitely not feeling the best. And then I still have to go to work and then put gas in my car and find a way to get lunch for work. So not going to be on here too long. So I'm using this right here. This is the Booktuber. Her name is about reading about. If I get a chance, I will totally link her, her channel or this video. The first question says, you have 20,000 books on your TBR. How do you decide which book you read next? And I find that in our community, we definitely have a lot of TBR piles. I'm sorry, I have to eat and work this out. No, my bread is cold. Fail. What was I getting at? Okay. On YouTube, we have a lot of TBRs. It just grows and grows, and it's a good thing because we're finding out about new books that sound interesting that we want to pick up. Maybe we saw it in the haul. Hopefully, we saw a review on it, and what we were hearing really sparked this drive to go read it. So yeah, we usually have hella long TBRs. Like my TBRs probably haven't checked it in a while. I've been kind of free-flowing lately, not going off the TBR list, and it's been good for me. But before, I think I had over 200 books on the TBR, and I have this issue with order. So this is how I would tackle this question. I usually would try to read the books in the order that I purchased them. Why? Because I don't want an issue where I have books sitting on my shelf for forever that I never got to. Is it good for me? No, because I think sometimes I force myself to read books that I'm not really in the mood for sometimes, just because it was in the last pile of books that I purchased. And I know if I don't read it before I move on to the next pile, it's not going to happen for at least a year or two. And I always feel bad when that happens, when I look back and I see that book just still there, either on my Kindle or it's on my shelf somewhere. So that's how I'd handle that issue. Next question is, you're halfway through a book and you haven't, you're not loving it. Do you quit or commit? For me personally, I find that I kind of commit versus quit. I know I should quit, but if I get past 20% of a book and I haven't given up on it yet, in the sense that I usually give books 20% to either win me over or, you know, turn me off to whatever I'm reading. And if that's going on, and if I stuck through the book past the 20% mark, more than likely I'm just going to commit, because by then, too much time invested. I want to not necessarily figure out if the book is going to be good or not, because at this point, if I'm not liking it, it's rare that the book will just come from behind at the end and make it a 4 or 5-star book. Most of the time, it'll turn out to be like a solid 3. Like, we had a lot of issues and the end kind of saved the novel for me. So I'm more of a commit person, even though I should probably quit, because the saying is true. Life is definitely too short to kind of be reading bad books, or at least I don't think there's, no, let me not say that. I was going to say I don't necessarily think there's bad books, but I do. But I don't necessarily think every book is bad. Like, every book has an audience, let me put it that way. And so sometimes you just have to read what you're into. I need to take that advice, but I can't help it. I just have to clear my stupid bookshelf or my Kindle shelf or whatever you want to call it. Number 3, the end of the year is coming up, which is nowhere near right now because we're in January. But anyways, and you're on a Goodreads reading channel challenge. Do you try to catch up, and how? I don't really do Goodreads challenge because, number one, I do Booktube, and sometimes there's some stress around Booktube as far as getting material out. Like, I just finished reading These Brilliant Stars, and so eventually I have to do some type of review or put my thoughts somewhere, either on probably Goodreads or something. But you're already under this, I need to pick up another book, because that's what we do here. We talk about books, hopefully. And so you're always under the gun to pick something else up, to read it in a short amount of time, so that way you can get your thoughts out to the people and you have something new to talk about. And this is the new book I love. This is the new book I hate. This is the new book that was just vanilla. You know, if you like these things, you'll probably enjoy the book. If you don't like these things, you're probably not going to enjoy the book. Things like that. So I don't necessarily even want to put the Goodreads challenges on top of that already. I probably wouldn't crack, but I just like, just unneeded extra right now. So I don't really participate in Goodreads, but if I did and there was a challenge, I would completely cheat almost, because I'm very competitive, which is probably another reason why I don't join the challenges, because I would have to win and meet the goal and push myself. And I think I'll push myself to the extent where I might not be enjoying most of the things I'm reading to complete the challenges. But I'd probably either read things that are not necessarily considered books, but they have the word book in them. So I would read cookbooks, I would read coloring books, stuff like that. I would just cheat all the way. That's why I don't do challenges. Number 5, I guess. Everyone and their mother loves a book you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? I bond with you guys in the community about how I'm feeling about a particular book, because that's what you do on BookTube. Hopefully, you share your positive reviews, and you also share your negatives. I know it's a little bit hard to share negative reviews because backlash can be a son of a gun, but hey, someone has to tell both sides of every coin. Like I said, a book has, very rare a book is just, bomb, everyone loves it. There's someone out there that doesn't like it. And that's why I think your opinion is valid if you can articulate it. And people will be like, yes, that's what I didn't like about the book. Yeah, I'm on Twitter right now. Sorry, you guys. I can multitask, but it's really hard. Actually, I can multitask. Next question. You're reading a book and you're about to start crying in public. How do you deal? I am an emotional reader, and I try to avoid, well, let me not put this. I don't try to avoid reading in public because I read anywhere and everywhere. But when I start to feel emotional, I kind of remind myself that I am in public. So when I feel the tears about to really work in there, or I feel my throat starting to contract because I'm just feeling all these emotions, I kind of glance up and then I see I'm in a public place. So then I'll take a couple minutes away from the book, so that way I can kind of and then I try to get back to the novel. If it's something just out of left field, like I didn't see that emotional moment coming, so there's no way I can kind of brace myself. I kind of say, hold it in, do the eye shut thing. I wish I had like a little scent salt stuff or something to kind of just whack your senses out. But I don't know. I just kind of, either I cry in public and that's what it is, but hopefully no one's really paying attention to me. If it's one of those left field books where the situation happens before I can stop myself from crying, or I kind of remind myself that I'm in public and I take a few minutes away from my book. I guess that's how I deal with emotional books. Number 7, a sequel of a book you love just comes out, but you've forgotten a lot of it from the prior. Like you forget a lot of the sequences and what happened in the book prior. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis on Goodreads, or cry in frustration? I think I hit a lot of those, like each one of those. Well, there's a book that's called, what is it called? Maybe I can do screenshots on here. I can show you guys what I'm talking about. But it was this vampire book that I was reading way back in the day when I was super into vampires. But the book was good. It was good. And then I kind of fell out of it because I think they put like the last 2 novels were not that strong. One book was half strong, and then it kind of felt filler towards the end. And then the next book that she put out was just a complete filler book, and that kind of tossed me out of the series. But I heard the final 3 books in the series came out, and they really picked up where the first 3 books, were in the series that were very action paced. There was a goal. It wasn't a filler basically, and so I'm in one of those frustrated states where it's hard for me to go back to that series right now, even though I know, technically speaking, people are saying, the book is great. Like the last 3 have picked up where things have taken off. But then I also get those moments where I just don't even bother, and that's with The Song of Ice and Fire. Literally between book, I think 4 and 5, it took him 6 years. No beef against you, George R.R. Martin. You're a genius. We all know this. I know this. The world knows this. Like, if you do not know that this man is brilliant, I don't know what your problem is. But he is. But the time between book 4 and book 5, 6 years, like, how is a reader supposed to, just hop back in there without doing some type of Goodreads synopsis or doing some type of reread? Like, there's no way. And the thing is, the man's book is their behemoth. Okay, all of them are like this. They're like tomes, and there are so many different characters that you don't want to forget any one of them, because he does a good job of making his characters memorable in the sense that you don't want to feel like you've lost connection to anyone in the story when you continue reading. And I fell off. I read book 1, 2, and 3. I didn't even get to book 4. I was emotionally distraught, so I definitely think I needed that break in between book 3 and 4, which I still haven't gotten to yet. But I don't know if I want to go back, number one, because I cry in public, and that book is definitely a book that makes me cry. Like, I can still remember book 1 towards the end, and I was halfway in shock. The Game of Thrones was just life wrecking, and then halfway in tears. Like, I was like, what the freak? Yes. And I like that about the book. Like, it can bring out these emotions that I'm having, which is great. But if it's been such a long time between books, it's hard for me to like feel that I have that same level of attachment, which is partly why I haven't picked up the 4th book. I'm afraid that I'm not gonna be able to just kick off where I left off. And then it was like 4 years between book 3 and 4. So I've kind of lost my zeal for it, even though I know the book series is amazing. You guys don't have to tell me that. I know the man's a genius. I know it. He's just freaking genius. One of the best book series that I've actually read, and so I should get back to it, but I feel like I'm caught in one of those situations where I'd have to read the synopsis, or maybe I should just go check out the HBO show. I watched the first season, which was good, but I don't know. I don't feel like really watching a TV series, because sometimes I feel like they leave things out, and then when I'm reading the book, I'm lost. Like, what the hell? But I don't know. I heard it's when I watched season 1, it was really good, like, one-on-one comparison. Like, I didn't really see anything that they left out that was of major importance. So maybe I should just watch the series and then continue on to book 4. But I don't know. I'm having commitment issues as far as getting back into that series. Next question. A series of a book that you love come out, but I already read that one. Sorry. Number 8. You do not want anyone borrowing your books. How do you politely tell them nope when they ask? I either say no, or I mention that usually when I'm talking to people about books, I don't really actually have a physical book in my hand. So if it is a physical book, I tell them that it's on my Kindle. So no one usually asks you to borrow your Kindle. I don't know why, but I love it, partly because it's an electronic purchase and your whole library's on there. So people do not want to borrow, your Kindle, because they feel like they're taking away all of your books just to read one. So I usually say it's on my Kindle, even if I have a physical book of it. I'm like, well, it was a Kindle purchase. You can pick it up for, or if it's a physical book and I don't even know the price of it on Kindle, I said, I think you can pick it up for like $9.99 because it's the typical price on there. Or I think I got it on a sale. I make up whatever I have to make up to just be polite and suggest them to go to the library, or to pick it up actually on Kindle if they feel like it, or torrent it if they feel like it, or do whatever they have to do to get the book. As long as it's not my copy, because I don't know, I've had a terrible time of me getting books back that I lend. I don't know, it's just the story of my life. I usually either don't get it back, the condition is not that good. It's very rare it turns out well. Like, I get the book, give it back in pristine, get it back in pristine, condition. So, oh my gosh, my throat is killing me. On to the next. Reading ADD. You pick up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slumps? For the most part, I think rereads are how I typically get off of reading slumps. If not that, toughing it out with a book that I'm interested in. Like, of the 5 that I picked up, there's probably some level of interest in that book as far as figuring out what's going on. It's just doing it super slow and I'm not really into it. Either I'll do a reread or I'll stick with that book and just not push myself to read it every day. Like, oh, every day I need to wake up and read this book. It'll be like maybe once a week. I'll trudge through some chapters and then that's it. And then it'll be another couple of days or whatever, and then I'll trudge through that. So that's how I kind of get over those reading slumps. Either I'll just stick with a book that I'm slightly interested in, and I'll just read it at the slow pace that my body feels and my mind feels like I should be going, or I go back to a reread, go back to a book that I know I loved, okay? And maybe it's been a while since I read it. I'll do that. Oh my gosh, my throat. Hey, whoever's watching the live show, it's probably Keisha. Yeah, Keisha. Unless I'm totally wrong, which if I am, I'm sorry, whoever you are, viewer. On to the next business. Question number 10. There are so many new books coming out and you're dying to read. How many do you actually buy? And I guess subsequently, how many do you actually read? But let's do the first question. There's a lot of new books coming out, which I'm terrible at names, but there was just a video out on YouTube. What, no, it couldn't even be last week. I think it was Monday. It was from, there we go, Sunny and Amanda. They did what's coming out, and it was good. There's definitely maybe 3 books in that batch that I kind of wanted to purchase, but I don't really have this. I do have this when I start buying books, which I think is a booktube problem. When you start buying books, it kind of snowballs into you feel like you need to pick up everything that you even have a slight interest in. You just have to. So I usually try to stick to a 5-book limit as far as purchasing. But if you go back to any of my haul videos, I was picking up like 12 or 18 because of BookTube. I'm telling you, it's a BookTube problem. I'll discuss that in a minute, hopefully. But like I said, I'm not going to be on here too long today, but I try to buy 5 books at a time, and I try to go through those 5 books at a time. That's the way I kind of roll. I try to roll, but things happen. So I don't buy all the books that I'm interested in. I try to, which is why you have TBRs. Like, what the heck is the point of a TBR? You just buy everything. Because why buy everything and just leave it on your shelf, and then a moment in time will come up and you're not interested in the book anymore and you just spent $8. Even though, of course, you can be proactive and kind of either gift that book to someone else, or you can donate it to a charity of some sort, or you can actually give it to the library. There's things that you can do when you kind of go overboard with book buying. That can be positive in a positive way, but in a more positive way for your finances, for you personally, you should just keep a list of the books, all the books that you want, and then probably try buying them in small batches at a time, and try to read most of those books in that batch that you just purchased with your money. Read them. If you don't like them, then you, of course, you can do the whole regifting thing or donate thing also, but at least you're not going out there spending hundreds of dollars, going crazy in a Barnes Noble or any one of these book buying sites for no reason, even if there's a sale, because to be honest, there's always going to be another sale, or the sale is not enough to actually counteracting you actually buying that book if you really want to read it. So that's, I don't know if I answered that question or not, but okay. Number 11, after you've bought the new book that you can't wait to get to, how long does it sit on your shelf before you get to it? I think the most is maybe 3 months, probably. Typically, worst case scenario, it'll be a year. And if a year comes and I haven't read the book, this is when the regifting probably happens, because I'm like, if it hasn't happened as of yet, then apparently I'm not that interested in picking it up. Or I at least try. If it hits the year mark, I try to read the first couple pages. If I'm not digging it and it's been a year and I haven't even picked it up, I regift that thing. I regifted like a bad habit, and I have to get rid of it. That was it for the tag, but I guess let me go into a mini discussion because I have like technically 5 more minutes before I hop off of this thing. Which I say that every time. It's just really hard for me to get off. It's really hard for me to get off live shows, especially if people are watching and commenting and stuff like that. It's just really hard. But I was going to say some of the issues with BookTube, it becomes that I found. This is just me personally. I guess you guys can co-sign or not co-sign on your own. But I find that you get into these buying frenzies, which a lot of these questions are kind of about. I think I missed one question though. One question was about, you buy a book series and, the series change cover midway through. What do you do? Type of scenario. And a lot of people would just either buy the book cover that they like, which is totally cool, or they just keep going. Like me, if you look at my shelf, I do have to maybe shoot a video of it one time. There's a lot of book series that are not in the same edition. Because if it's a book that I really want to read, it's a day one or at least a week one buy. Like as soon as I get paid that Friday or whatever, I go and buy it. And so my shelf could be looking all types of crazy. Like first the books were like this skinny, or when I first got them, it was in paper. It was a paperback book because I really enjoy joining series usually after either the paper edition comes out, because that means there's like several books in the series. So if I'm really loving it, I don't have to wait to continue. But that also means I have like paper, and then after I become addicted to the series, then I have to buy it the first week it comes out. So then I have the hardcover because I don't feel like waiting, 6 months until it becomes paper mass. So then I have those huge ones, especially with the Aragon, because I think Aragon have like paper, then then what was it, like 2 paper ones, and then the huge hardcover books. And so it looks all crazy, and I really don't feel like I already have the copy. I really don't feel like going back to buy either buy the other hard copy to fit the shelf, and then I really don't know what to do with the extra paper copies that I have, me personally. It's hard. I can't really throw away a book. I'd rather gift it. But then I've kind of felt like I've just wasted like $24, $48, because the hardcover books are usually around $11.99, if not more. Sometimes now they're coming out to be like $21. I don't know. The hardcover could be super expensive. So then I really don't like that aspect of just being wasteful in that sense. Like I have like a bajillion copies of things, and I'm not really gifting them away because I have a hard issue of like giving away my books, and I avoid all that in general. So I don't really care if a book comes in different sizes, and I care if I bought them together and like one's like a freaking weird size. I do care about that. But what I'm saying is if I'm reading a series while I'm going along and things change, I really don't care, because then I have memories associated with the actual copy that I read. And so it's hard for me to like just go buy a different copy and just put it on my shelf, because there's no memories attached now to that copy. It's just the copy that matches the set. There's just nothing really special about it for me that I can just pick out. There's no bent pages when I actually like lint on, how you're laying down on the bed and sometimes your what is this? Your wrist or something kind of cuffs the paper and it makes it bend. None of that's in a book that you just buy and just put on your shelf. There's like nothing attached to it. So technically I do have some issues with that. So, but anyways, back to the problems. So we get into this buying frenzy sometimes within the community, which can be not too healthy. I think a lot of times it's not healthy at all. Because if you go back to my hauls, which I do have to do another one, I think I should just do hauls every 3 months or something. That way I can stick to the normal book buying habits that I had before starting this community. And then when I do the haul, it'll be like 10 to 15 books that I picked up that I wanted to read, or even something less. It could be 8, because sometimes when I go in the bookstore, I only want to buy one book. Like there's only one thing that kind of stood out of the bunch. And so yeah, maybe I'll do that instead. But anyways, these haul videos where people, you have like 20 some books, and you're not gonna get to them. Let's be real. You're not gonna get to all of them. Eventually in your lifetime, hopefully you do. I know that's what you tell yourself when you buy them, but you're not gonna get to all of them. You're not. So it's just we have this wastefulness thing going on, and I totally think we need to pump the brakes on that because I know it's helping the publishing houses, but it's not really helping you, like as far as your space, because your living room probably looks a hot mess with like a conundrum of books that you never read. And then the worst part is people come to your house to borrow books all of a sudden. They don't come to your house to borrow books. They come to the house to visit you. But then they get to your bookshelf and then they start picking up books that you haven't read and you don't feel like telling them, no, don't take that book. I haven't read it yet. Because then they're like, well, it's just sitting here on your bookshelf. Let me read it. And then they read it and then they have weird markers all over your book because they kind of did the whole elbow thing. And there's weird bit pages. And now the book doesn't really feel like yours because you didn't really read it first. And it causes all these issues. So we just need to curve that, I think, and maybe stick to paper. Like if you like a book, you're interested in the book, write it down on paper. When you finish reading your book and you have this huge long list of books that you're interested in that you really, 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 really want, actually go through that list and see if you actually even remember what the previous things were about and if you still feel that same anxious anxiety to like just go out and get it. I think that's a good retractor. But there is some good things about our hashtag booktube problems. The fact that we watch all these videos. When I walked into a was it a Barnes and Nobles, I think? Yeah, it was a Barnes and Nobles. When I walked in there, I didn't feel lost. Like I knew where every book of interest was. Like because you watch so much booktube, you see all these titles. It's like when you walk through the bookstore, it's like the booktuber is there with you, or your favorite booktubers are there with you. And you kind of can look at a book associated with a booktuber, associated with some type of dialogue or commentary, hopefully, about the book. And then you pick it up. It's like I felt like I knew what I wanted and what I was interested in. I didn't feel like, because sometimes when you go in the bookstore, you're looking at a row, like you're in a row at a bookstore or something like that, and you don't know any of the books in the row. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming because then you're just kind of picking up something. You read the back and the synopsis sucks, and so you put it back and you're just going back. Like there's no level of attachment. But when you after watching so much booktube, when you get into a row of books, you can be like, oh, there's that book that booktuber was talking about, the one about blah blah blah. And then you can pick it up and read it, and you start actually getting to the writer's writing style. And you see if you like it, and you pick that up. So I think there are some positives to the booktube, and there are some negatives. Of course, the buying frenzy is the negative. The sense of comfort and association that you get, in the sense that you're not lost. Even when you go into the classic section of a bookstore, or the Barnes and Nobles, you feel some level of comfort because you know what the hell the classics are about. Like you know, like this is Jane Austen, and this is when she does this. If you watch like a recent video on one of those classics, or oh man, everyone is talking about Their Eyes Are Watching God, which is a book that people should totally read if you haven't read it yet. But oh my gosh, this is Their Eyes Are Watching God. This is a beautiful cover. And then because of you already knowing what books are about when you walk into a bookstore, then I think you can make a better purchase as far as which cover edition you want to get. Like, okay, you already know all about this book. For those who don't really care about spoilers, you already know. If you watch like spoilery like book reviews, you already know what the book is about. So then you don't really just pick up whatever cover the bookstore has. You'll be like, oh, I know all about this book, but this cover sucks. I definitely know I saw a better edition either on the Booktuber's channel or while you were searching through Goodreads. And that's one of the other good things about Goodreads. It has all the cover editions. So you can kind of be like, okay, the UK edition of the book is way better than the US. Let me stick to that, type of thing. I'm pretty sure there's more that I can go on to, but like I said, my throat's hurting. I have to run and do a lot of stuff before I go to work. So it was nice chilling with you guys today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I haven't done that in a while. Done that hashtag. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. You don't have to like, comment, or subscribe. But please let me know about your hashtag booktube problems. I think throughout the years I've used that hashtag throughout the year. I haven't even been on booktube for a year, but throughout the year, as of from January to January, I've used the hashtag booktube problems when I've come up with various issues that we have within the community. I'm pretty sure I haven't listed all of them. I thought this tag was a good place to start, but we can continue down in the discussion comment box. You can list your hashtag booktube problems, things that you have come up against that you have to combat because of our community that we're in. And that should be it. I will check the I don't think anything's jumping off on Twitter today. A boring Twitter day today. Nothing's really jumping out at me as far as ooh la la, like I need to read that or click on that video. So peace.